TPG, can I try today? सदाशिव समारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायण सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Shanti, that little elongate the ikar. Shanti.
Aditi.
We will continue from yesterday. So the main part, as a general takeaway for all of us to start with, is Shastra does not. Okay, I'm rephrasing my words. Shastra glorifies positive state of mind. Positive state of mind meaning where the thoughts have consideration for others, and that would be emotions such as kindness, gentleness, compassion, givingness, service, where an individual is able to accommodate others without feeling injured himself, herself. Vedic perspective is this is the first immediate anchoring for a human embodied being. To fight one's own lower tendencies, thoughts of greed, jealousy, envy, frustration, fear, etc. Where you are perceiving the other as someone who is harming or is potentially a person who can harm you or belittle you or look down upon you, etc. So the emotions that surface because of that. So Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra are representing those people, where the major part of the personality is built around these feelings, these thoughts. Shastra says the first hurdle to overcome in a human form is to purify these emotions, to purify these thoughts, to remove from them this sense of otherness, the sense of separation, the sense of something that makes a division felt between people, between objects, between other creatures. So the first step is to come to the point of establishing fairly a conscious framework where you are able to operate from good, positive emotions, feelings, thoughts. So I'm repeating myself just in case. Starting accepting that every human embodied being is very similar to an animal, and therefore it's very natural to have certain instinctive thoughts of otherness, separation, which result in emotions such as anger and fear and frustration and jealousy, etc. These have to be overcome first. Not entirely, but predominantly a personality needs to be built around. Once these have been overcome, there is shuddhi of these emotions and thoughts, then the personality is more centered around positive natured feelings and thoughts, which is diluting away the separation, the otherness with people and other living beings. So the caring, the sharing, the service orientedness, the kindness, the gentleness, all these become primary. So you don't feel threatened by the world and you don't threaten the world. The world is not threatened by you and you don't easily get threatened by people. That is a very beautiful goal for a human being. First goal that Shastra visualizes, educates, accepts it as an interim stage. But the catch there is, but the obstacle within it is that the positive emotions bring with them a certain happiness and freedom and a peace of mind. They themselves become the cause of further bondage. So you are not able to free yourself from becoming a good person. Your positive emotions bind you. Your good feelings chain you. They tie you down. That is what Arjuna is now showing to us. That he has seen kripa. Kripa means a positive feeling, compassion, empathy, kindness for other forms of life, not just his people. His thought had gone to all other families that are going to get affected also. A noble soul, you call it in general terms, Arjun is. But when the positive emotions start to tie you down in your decisions, they do not keep you objective in them. You lose objectivity with reference to any situation which would demand certain stern, not good looking apparently, actions or thoughts, corrective actions, when the good personality of yours starts to clash with it and doubt starts to arise, the conflict arises. Is it necessary? Because you will have to overcome the bondage of the good thought within you. Because the opposite side of it is, if I start doing that, I am also one of them, etc. That Bhagavad Gita is clinching it to tell us that when your own positive emotions, your own good personality, your own gentle nature, kind nature starts to become an obstacle in your objective view of situations and circumstances and retain an objectivity with people. That means you have now a unique samsara with you. You have a samsara, state of disturbance, also with you, and that is going to create future situations and problems in your life, like Bhishma and Drona. While it is wonderful to have stuck to your vow, your loyalty to your kingdom or your promise, these are all wonderful emotions to be with. Many of us will have to work towards even sticking to our promise. We make promises and then we forget about them. We compromise with our promises to our convenience. Bhishma is giving us an example that unconditionally, Karna is giving us an example that unconditionally you can hold on to your promise. But when you are holding on to your promise unconditionally, the flaw is there also. Gita is not advising that being such a good person, forget Gita, the Vedic view is not advising that such a good person is the goal of your life. Becoming a good person is the goal of your life. It's not a goal of your life. It is a stepping stone towards the goal of your life. And that goal of your life is finding complete freedom from the sense of identity itself, which is a far-fetched thing for someone who is even at the state of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, जो सिर्फ अपने बारे में ही सोच सकते हैं, who can only think about themselves and their gratification. To ask for, to have a goal for them where they are going to find freedom from a sense of individuality is a very far-fetched thing. It's not possible to even recognize it. It will not come into their framework of thought. To whom is this thought possible even to enter in their cognition is the one who's already at least a stage of Arjuna, where predominantly, and I'm making two very big statements here, predominantly your personality is settled at good emotions. You are able to operate fearlessly out of them. You don't feel a sense of want or a sense of incompleteness or a sense of insecurity when you're trying to be good. Means you don't get threatened and you're not threatened. That's the second point. So when the good emotions become your bondage, Shastra says you have to be careful about this. Most of us miss this point. Most of us think being a good person is the end of life. It's the goal. After all, when I am good, what bad can happen to me? If I am a good person, मैंने किसी के साथ गलत नहीं किया, तो मेरे साथ क्यों गलत होगा? And then if God forbid something happens, the whole foundation of goodness is shaken up. Why should I be good? What is the worth of being good? I should also be like them. I should also take a vicious stand, etc., etc. In the first place, goodness itself needs to be under the supervision of your discrimination, discernment, and the discernment factor is time and place, situation. Where are you placed? Where is your presence at the moment? There, what is the right thing to be done? That may be the good thing, or sometimes the good thing is a corrective thing, and no corrective thing is looked upon as good because, normally speaking, because correction is always in the form of bringing something from negative to center. If someone is a habitual liar, now what is a good approach you can have? Talk to them, be understanding, up to a point, especially if this habitual liar happens to be your responsibility, say your child or your anyone towards whom you have a responsibility. What would be the corrective stand there? You cannot let it continue because, irrespective of you, it is not good for the person. You are there today for them, tomorrow you may not be there in that person's life. But for that person towards whom you have a responsibility, for that person being a continually, habitually lying is not good for the person. So you will take some stronger action. That stronger action is not necessarily going to be looked upon as positive from a normal perspective, but from Shastra's perspective, it is correct. It is the right thing to do. It's a big learning. This much itself, if one gathers, you will get the whole outline of how Gita approaches life for a human being. What positive emotions start to crush us, tie us down, like Arjuna. The kripa in his mind is tying him down, has bound him. And once it confuses, those emotions starts to confuse what is the right thing to do. And as we see in Arjuna's case, he slips, he falls completely. His body has shaken up. His body is showing symptoms of physical illness, is stepping in. That much disturbance the mind has now got. So, a positive, good emotion, like here in this context of the Gita, feeling for others is a good thing. But Shastra is saying, Bhagavan said, Vishame samupasthitam. This feeling is inappropriate in the situation in which you are. This feeling is not to be entertained here. This feeling is your mental weakness. Means your good feelings are now not under your jurisdiction. They have weakened you. Your good feelings are weakening you. You're not able to remain objective. And life is not just about all good will take me to good. That's not the way to conduct life. The method of choosing in life is goodness, as I'm repeating, is not a goal. To steer through situations and circumstances, Gita says, what is going to be the point of your, where is it that you are feeling tight? So how will I perceive that a positive quality is misplaced? If you go along the text, as you are finding Arjuna here, Arjuna is, the words Krishna has used is, this kind emotion, examine it. Is it right to operate on it? It can surface, but is it right to operate in the situation in which you stand? That's the way to know that is this positive quality misplaced, because it will always create a disturbance. It should not be a surprise to us. A quality which is kind, nice, gentle, etc. If it is the correct expression at the right time, at the right place, to the right person, it is going to generate happiness. Isn't it? Is there any confusion in that stand? If a right emotion is expressed to the right person at the right time, in the right place, in the right manner, what will be the outcome of that interaction? It will bring joy to everyone, whoever is a party to that. But if your emotion is misplaced means placement galat hai, jagah galat hai, timing galat hai, maybe insan bhi galat hai. You don't need to express it there. If you act on that emotion, it will create disharmony, it will create disturbance, it will create misunderstanding, it can create anything. because it is misplaced. So the way to understand that my emotion is misplaced, first of all, we have to get out of this thought that goodness is ultimate. Goodness is ultimate from the standpoint of Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. It's ultimate to come even to the point of Arjuna. But Vedic view, Vedic Shastra, Vedic outlook of life is to bring the human potential to its maximum. What does a human potential hold? Is being a good person the maximum of a human potential? No. Shastra says it is only a prerequisite. It is required. You cannot say, okay, so then what's the use of being a good person? Well, if you don't be a good person, then as I just said, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, you can't expect them to come to the full maturity of their human life. You can't expect them to pursue total freedom. It's too far off a goal. They can't conceive it. So to be a good person is the center, is the prerequisite, definitely. But the learning is, that's where Shastra comes. We may not understand this ourselves, till scripture tells us this, till we understand it, till we are told this, that when your good weakness binds you, it becomes a seat of disturbance. It creates a confusion. That's how you know that it is misplaced. It's created a confusion, and a confusion which has rippled over. It has rippled into other symptoms. It's not getting decisive. Arjuna by himself, as we are going to see just now, by himself is not able to come to resolve this confusion in his mind. The emotions have become predominant. The good emotions are now in his conscious mind. That's what he thinks is the right thing. And everything else he is not able to remember at that point. So, Krishna is shaking him up, reminding him that you have been a person who the society has looked up to as a role model. Arjuna was not only, we all know that, he was very, very skilled and qualified in every manner, with good qualities. So he had earned a lot of respect, he had earned a lot of honor in the society, everywhere, because he was anchored to he had overcome the negative and he was anchored in his positivity. Now this, an Aryam, he was doing what he ought to be doing, which brought him all this. In every situation he was able to perceive now what is to be done, now what is to be done, now what is to be done, not for his sake, but for the sake as a member of wherever he was, what is to be done. That goal, higher, pitched higher, a little bit above his own self-interest, had made him come very close to being a perfect, wanted in that sense, wanted person. He was close to being a perfect person from dunya ki drishti. Krishna ki drishti, Shastra ki drishti is Krishna ki drishti. From Krishna's standpoint, Shastra's standpoint, this emotion of his is durbalta. Durbalta. English word weakness is very mild to convey this. Durbalta. Bal kya hai? Strength. That strengthens you, empowers you. Positive emotion should strengthen you, empower you. But Krishna is saying, this emotion which has now got misplaced is erupted at a wrong time. Erupted at a wrong time means From Krishna's standpoint, it's the right time. But for Arjuna to suffer that, if his buddhi was operating, he would have rationalized it then and there, and he would not have slipped so low. That rationality has gone. So it has now become durbal. It is taking away his strength. That emotion is taking away the strength, inner strength. It's making him weak. Inner strength is, you cannot gain inner strength if you do not live a righteous life. सिद्धांत की बात है ये. You understand, don't understand, misunderstand, incomplete understand, but how does one gain inner strength? What is the means to gain inner strength? And inner strength doesn't mean I have a strong disposition and I put up a brave front outside when I'm being, a lot of people feel a lot of, I have lived with a lot of strength. If you are strong inside, then it prevents you from being disturbed. There's no need to show strength. You are strong. So the disturbance is not extreme. It's not, the magnitude of the disturbance is not very high. That inner weakness, Krishna is reminding Arjuna, you've been a person who has been looked up to. But what you're now showing is such durbalta, weakness. And whatever you have thought you were talking as rationality, swarg nahi milega and paap ho jayega, etc. This is all counter of that. Counter of that means it will not give you any future. It's not bringing you punyam. It is not going to give you any future happiness. And whatever kirti you have acquired now, if people were to recognize Arjuna as this, they will stop holding you as a inspirational person. It will come down. Your kirti will fall. He's a Kshatriya. He's earned all this by his strength and his qualities, by his hard work, I would say. He's worked very hard. What is the difference between the 5 Pandavas? If there was one thing that made one of them stand out more, Arjuna stand out more and be closer to Krishna than any other, is he was extremely hardworking. He worked hard towards what he was told or taught till he was able to master it. So that extra work was showing in his character, and that was recognized all around him as an exemplary person. So in the second verse, he says, Krishna is telling him, how have you fallen to this disgraceful position? Bringing disgrace to your own self. By allowing these emotions to stay in you and not discern that they are misplaced, mistimed. And in this difficult situation, which you have prepared for 12 years, and especially 1 year hard life, Agyatavas, you have fought with Shiva, you've earned weapons, you've been working towards this war. And right at that time, Vishama Parasthiti, at this difficult time, you are now collapsing inside. The closest Vishama Parasthiti to a lot of people that people had seen is just recent when we had this COVID, and if a very close, especially the first wave or the second wave, when we had even one close member of a family go through this, and you would not find beds and you would not find Vishama Parasthiti. Vishama Parasthiti will come unasked, uncalled. What's happening to Sri Lanka? Vishama Parasthiti. Vishama Parasthiti will come to anyone, anytime, anywhere. It is not going to give you a warning signal before. It's not red light ke baad yellow light and then green light. I'll wait. I'll give you enough reminders. Sometimes it does, but it's not always necessary. There are indicators. If we heed the indicators, Visham Parasthiti aati hi nahi hai. But most of us, by the time we recognize it's a Vishama Parasthiti, we have already not heeded the indicators. Therefore, it becomes Vishama. Now in this Vishama Parasthiti, you're not supposed to just be carried away in a state of helplessness. If you carry yourself out in a state of helpless feeling because your emotions have taken over, so what is that durbalta? That emotion has surfaced in a way that you are feeling helpless. That helplessness is what has created further confusion. I just don't know what to do. Helpless means मुझे नहीं पता मुझे क्या करना है. So if a close one was not finding, supposing, a bed and you needed to save a life, if your emotion took you over, that fight that you had to present yourself with at that time would not be there. That capacity to hold yourself in a Vishama Parasthiti, Gita's Mahabharat, Gita in it, historical event is not what we are studying. It's irrelevant to know historically. It's relevant, yes, to learn lessons. And what are the lessons from history? What is this lesson that you learn? That a person like Arjuna is also capable or also slips into a feeling of helplessness in a Vishama Parasthiti. Vishama is difficult Parasthiti. In a Visham word conveys a lot more than difficult and it's Visham means hard.
Daunting.
Daunting. Okay. It's a hard, difficult to overcome. It's a situation that can shake anyone normally. And that's why he represents that. So he says, Kutastva Kashmalamidam. How come, Arjuna? Krishna is almost like, because they've been close friends in that way, he's been close friends in a way. They have an informal method of talking also. They have been closer than the others. So sometimes that informality seeps in your conversation. So Kutastva Krishna in his informal way is telling Arjuna, how did you slip into this avastha? Knowing fully well, all of us have learned our lesson. It was deliberate on Krishna's part to bring it in front of them. Knowing fully well, almost suspecting, doubting, अगर नहीं हुआ होता ये Arjun के साथ, if Arjun hadn't collapsed, that would have been a surprise. And that would have really said he's ready. He's mentally strong for the battle. Krishna would have taken some other opportunity to give us the Gita. This wouldn't have happened. But bringing him in front and now telling Arjuna, how come you have come to this position? And then seeing that Arjuna's, when a person is very helpless, feeling helpless, it's not that you can revive them ekdam se. It's to the degree of your feeling helplessness. Sometimes, like I said yesterday, this can carry for a few minutes, few hours, few days, few years, months, few years, few decades. These things, these emotional trappings can be a carry forward for very long also. So first word is use the language in such a way, Krishna, that let's see if it brings him up to his senses. Nothing. Arjuna was still must be looking, as we just saw, tears in his eyes, welled up in his eyes, ready to fall. And then Krishna realized a stronger dose, a greater corrective dose is needed. What is a stronger dose? That's the next verse. Powerful, strong. Klaipyam, masma gamah partha. We didn't do this verse yesterday, no? Klaipyam masma gamah partha, naitattvayupapadyate, shudram hridaya daurbalyam, tyaktvotishtha parantapa. He says here, O Parth. Parth means son of Kunti. He says, referring to him as son of Kunti, that gentle reminder, you're behaving like a kid. O Parth. So Krishna is showing his Vatsalya bhav as if, O Parth, having said, what has happened to you? Now first line, O Parth, you're behaving kiddish. How? Klaipyam masmagama. How have you fallen? You're not fallen. How are you showing? Klaipyam means Kleva bhav. Kleva bhav means neutral, neutrality. Neutrality not in the positive sense, objective sense. In the sense that you are neither able to go this nor go that. Actual, it means neither man nor woman. By calling him Klaipyam, Napunsak, he's calling him. You're behaving like a one who is neither a man nor a woman. That is like injuring, insulting. That's causing, it's almost attacking the manliness of Arjuna. And he was a straightforward, as we have known. That Purushatvam of Arjuna, Krishna is using such a strong word. And he says, Klaipyam masma gama. How have you come to this kind of a state of mind, which is not showing paurushyam. Paurushyam means capacity to be decisive, certain. This Klebaha word is referring to, let me go back a little in the story. When Arjuna had to spend 1 year, I think, in a state of where he had to become, to hide himself, he had taken a neuter gender. Was it Urvashi he became, or I don't remember the name if anybody remembers. But in that court, he became a neuter gender and he taught dancing to the princess in that court.
Brihanala. I think it was called Brihanala.
Correct. He was called Brihanala. Now, you go in, what has Krishna done? By using the word Klaipyam, and it was very recent. Agyatvaas mein tha na wo. So it was not a very old happening. It must have been very recent to the war. Just happened kind of a thing. That 1 year that Brihanala, correct. That 1 year that he must have spent hiding, as if. Suppressing is the right word. Suppressing his real nature. Suppressing who he was. Hiding it, suppressing it. And becoming something absolute opposite of it. That is Klaipyam. It doesn't mean that neuter gender, and that's a very superficial way that has been translated in the It is correct in its own stand. It's not wrong. If you just take a vachyartha of the word klaibyam, it means unmanliness. It means being a neuter-gendered person. But that doesn't convey anything. Are we looking down upon neuter-gendered person? No, certainly Shastra would never do that. So what klaibyam really comes to is reminding him of this, that he had to bring his own identity down and project, live as something entirely opposite. Krishna is saying, you are coming to the same situation here now. You're suppressing your individuality in these emotions, and you are actually saying completely opposite of who you are. When he says that I will not fight, I cannot fight, I'd rather be killed by these people, he says that's your, difficult for me to say the word, that's your neuter genderness. That's what you're showing as unmanliness. Masma gamah partha, O Partha, do not come to this state. Masma gamah, do not go gamah, jana, udhar tak mat jao. Don't become a napunsak in your buddhi. Don't go up to that point where you are completely saying something else to who you really are. You are a warrior. You have fought enough battles. You fought against Bhishma and Drona also in one of those 12 years when they had to go and again that story I forget, but he's fought them before also. For a king he went single-handed, nobody else there, and he won the war and came back. And that's the time Bhishma sensed that this can only be Arjuna. Nobody else could have fought them like the way he did. He's already fought them. He's had no confusion before. So he says, Krishna is saying, Klaibyam masmagamah partha na etattvai upapadyate. He says, this is not upapadyate, befitting you. This does not hold your stature. This does not justify this place where you have been put. Na tvai, in you, tvai, in you, upapadyate. This is not worthy place to be. This is not your worthy place.
Befitting.
This is not befitting you. In you, this does not suit you. It doesn't go with your personality. It's contrary to who you are. So, masma gamah partha. Don't go to that point of neutrality, of gentleness. He says, kshutram hridaya daurbalyam. So all that I've been saying yesterday and today, here he says, Krishna, it's your hriday ki durbalta. Your heart is weakened. By what? Shudram. By this literal dictionary meaning of Shudram is mean, lowly. So Shud is the dhatu. So it's lowly. It's not, opposite of Shud would be, he's going to use, in the second line he says Uttishta, the higher feeling. So that Shudram, lower. If you have to take the opposite side, the higher you, the better you. So this weakness, how come you have come to this point of weakness, which is bringing you so low in your own personality, bringing the lower part of you up. It's rising as if your own lower tendencies. So you are Shudram Hridaya Daurpalyam Tyaktva. Give up this Shudram Hridaya Daurpalyam. इसको Tyaktva means त्याग के, त्याग दो, छोड़ दो इस हृदय की दुर्बलता को. ओ Parantapa. Parantapa is another name of Arjuna. Why? Two meanings have been given for Parantapa. One was, he was a person who, as I said, hardworking. Hardworking, in other words, is he did a lot of tapas. So, tapa, he used to do a lot of tapas. The other thing is, he was such a warrior, such a soldier, he was, that he would tapayati, he would cause the other a lot of trouble. He would give other person difficulties. Tapayati. He would cause them I can't call it torture, but he would cause them difficulties in that sense. So, yeah. To the enemies, he would be giving them a tough time, a rough
He
time.
would be target
हाँ,
for
जो शत्रु को ताप देता है, correct, जो शत्रुओं को तपा देता है, in that sense, enemies को he would give them a difficult time, so tough time. So he says, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you are a parantapa. You have given शत्रुओं को रुला दिया. Let's put it this way. तुमने शत्रुओं को रुला दिया. शत्रुओं को you have given them a tough time. Tyaktva, terrorize them. Yeah, you're terrorizing them. You have parantapa. Others, parantapayati. Not your own people, not yourself, others. Also, this Hridaya Daurbalyam, he says, Tyaktva. I'll tell you what does Tyaktva as an example mean. Supposing you're very fond of something, some drink, say milk. You like milk. And it has your favorite additive in it, whatever. You like it, you just have it. And you see a bottle of or a glass of milk in front, you're about to drink it. And someone wants to play a prank with you. From behind says, oh, it's spoiled. It's got poison in it. 1 drop poison. What will you do to that glass of milk?
Discard it.
What will be the word? With which way will you discard?
Throw it. Immediately.
Immediately. And what will happen to your like for the milk?
उस time नहीं matter करेगा.
Is it taken into consideration? Oh no, I really like it. No, why should I throw it away? It's just got 1 drop of poison. The minute you know it has got a drop of poison in it, the milk is unconsumable. Even if you like it, tyaktva. That's the meaning of tyaktva. You have no hesitation. You have no doubt. You have no conflict of your like. What should I do is not confusing. You know I have to give it up. There is no conflict in you.
And you do it willingly, Deepti ji.
And you do it willingly. Because there is an understanding that this is not consumable. It will harm me. You can go on building this very well in the context of the first chapter that we have seen. Arjuna's mind can say that. This milk, if I take, I really have a like for it. Imagine if someone says, no, I can't do without the milk. I really like the milk. How can I throw it up? After all, maybe, and this is our justification, maybe my body will fight away the poison. Maybe there is no poison. Maybe they're just talking like that. maybe it won't harm me, maybe this poison is not poison at all, and maybe even if it does, it will just give me some rashes or maybe just a stomach up. I can bear all that. No, how can I give up? What will anybody say? Are you stupid? Are you IDIOT? No, what are you talking? That is what he said. Klempiam masmagamav partha. This is exactly how Arjuna was talking. Is there even a doubt supposed to be entertained at that point? No. The understanding has to be there. This is harmful. What is harmful in the context of this milk example? I have to discard it and I don't have to feel sorry about it. I don't have to feel bad about it. I don't have to feel, supposing it's not for you and it is for someone else. And you feel, oh, poor thing will have missed the glass of milk or etc. etc. You don't have to entertain. It is the same as tyag dena. Correct. Tyaktva. Tyaj is the word, root form tyaj. From tyaj is tyag, and tyaktva means completely abandon. Abandon karke. Just leave it. Tyaktva. Give it up completely. And then do what? Uttishtha. Ut khade ho Arjun. He was also physically sitting down, given up his bow and arrow, not wanting to fight. So even otherwise he's telling him to get up, लड़ने के लिए तैयार हो जाओ. And also mentally, psychologically, bring yourself to your stature. You have not been an impulsive person. In all important decisions, your rationality has decided what is to be done. So rise yourself up again. Come to the point of Uttishtha Parantapa. Get up. Now, normally, I find this very beautiful throughout the Gita. It's a very, by the way, point. It's not even important or relevant, but I find it very interesting. Gita should have ended here only. Gita starting hi hui. Nothing has happened yet. He has collapsed. Arjuna has collapsed. Krishna has literally slapped him. Ut. Arjuna should have gotten him if he'd really understood correctly. Oh, if Krishna is telling me, let me just get up and this must be the right thing to do. Let me just fight the war. Nothing would have happened. I often joke, I do joke on this. Supposing Arjuna had got up here only and said, okay, I've understood. I was making a fool of myself. Even if my emotions are right, even if I feel the loss of these people, the situation has brought us to this point that an action is now needed. It's like a doctor taking a call. If you have any relative who is a surgeon or a doctor in an emergency situation, sometimes they have to take such difficult decisions in the interest of the patient, knowing that this decision can go either way, but they have to take a call. Supposing there's a gangrene set in, they try to treat it first. But if the gangrene is not getting treated, a difficult call has to be made. I have to amputate a limb, a finger or a limb before I lose the person. It's a difficult situation. A difficult decision will have to be made. As a difficult situation, so a difficult decision will fall upon you to be made. So he says, Arjuna, if he had figured it out that, oh, I need to get up and fight. And as I said, I joke and I say, how you would have had in history books in our schools when we used to study history, and we say, yes, if it had not happened, only these chapters wouldn't be there. Similarly, in the Gita, when you start trying to study and understand, and initially your mind goes a little confused, and you say, oh, if Arjuna had only fought the war, then we wouldn't have had to study all this. We would have studied something else. But Anugraha, this we call Anugraha. Arjuna and Krishna are Nar and Narayan in that sense. This is just a bhav. A bhav to say that how even a difficult situation has been converted to become a beneficial situation, and it has gone transgressed the situation of war, and it has transgressed it into generations. For as long as humanity is there, human being is there, the knowledge is there to help any individual who slips into a state like this. And when that individual especially is seeking his own welfare, what is he to do? This is a guidebook. What Arjuna was told then will apply now, because human he was, human you are. The same thing will work. Nothing will change. But as we all say, for our luck, for our anugrah, Arjuna is not in a mood to get up. He is comfortable in his sad position. He's comfortable in the sense he is not showing resistance to his depressed mind. He's not offering resistance. He's not offering a fightingness for his depressive state. He's not showing. He still feels, like I said yesterday, he feels maybe Krishna's missed his point. He's looking for someone to give him solution, and someone here can only be not someone, anyone. He is looking at Krishna to give him the point, but at that point he tells him that get up and fight. And Arjuna now once again says, so all this, yes, he tries to motivate Arjuna, but motivate is too small a word. It's reminding him of shifting, discarding away these feelings and getting up to fight. Arjuna, on the other hand, has few more verses. But now these verses are what is bringing him to the point of becoming a receiver of knowledge, recognizing who he is. And what are these? Arjuna Uvacha. Oh, I'm sorry, we were to chant. Who wants to chant the verse? Let's do the third verse also. Who said? Priyanka, you said? Did you?
Akanksha, Dipti ji.
Akanksha, you said? Okay. Can you do it yourself, the third verse, or you want me to do first?
I can try.
Yeah.
But I would love feedback.
Yeah, sure.
Arjuna uvacha katham bhishmaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhih pratiyotsyami pujarhavari-sudana.
Can you do the third verse first?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Laibhyam masmagamah partha naitattvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa.
Correct. Tyaktvottishta.
Tyaktvottishta.
It's not coming very. The vo is tyaktvottishta.
Tyaktvottishta.
Correct. So do the whole verse again.
Laibhyam masmagamah partha naitattvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa.
Naitattvayupa. The ya a little more.
Naitattvayupa.
Correct. And in the next verse, Do the first line again.
Anji. Should I say Arjuna uvacha katham bhishma aham sang
Katham bhishmamaham
katham katham bhishmam maham
Katham bhishmamaham sankhye.
katham bhishmamaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana.
Correct. Optionally, this anuswara can be chanted as
No, Dronan, क्योंकि च है. Okay.
so Dronam cha madhu. And which is the Mahapran here?
Bha, Bhish, and Madhu, Madha.
Correct. So, and also Katha.
Katham.
Katham bhishmamaham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana. Correct. Yeah. Okay. So we were. Okay. So yes. Next verse. When we come to, you can do the next also, Akanksha. So now Arjuna says, what does he say? He says, Katham bhishma aham sankhye. Bhishmam aham sankhye. So I'll do the breakup first. Katham bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubhihi prati yotsyami pujaha puja arhau arisudana. Puja arhau. It's actually samasa word. So puja arhau arisudana. So katham bhishma maham sankhye. He's saying, how is it possible to fight Bhishma and Drona? Oh Madhusudana. What is Madhusudana? Madhusudana is a slayer of Madhu slayer. So he's again telling Krishna, he says, you though fought demons. Bhishma and Drona, my own people. Katham, how? Dronam, Sankhye, in the war. Sankhye here is war. How will I fight? How am I to fight these people in battle, in war? Oh Madhusudana. Then he exaggerates again. See, that pain in him is making him give details. Ishubhihi prati yotsyami. Fight with my bows and arrows. Ishubhihi is with arrows.
I have been given me something.
I have to fight with arrows. These people, prati yotsyam, was standing across me. Yotsyami, मुझे युद्ध करना है उनके साथ. भीष्मा और द्रोण जो मेरे सामने खड़े हैं, and I have to fight with arrows. These people, who are they? Pujaha arhau. Pujayaha arhau. They are worthy of puja. Arhau is worthy. They are worthy of worship. I look up to them. I have devotion for them. I adore them. These are the people I have to fight. Oh, Arisudana. Arisudana is Krishna's name. Arisudana means again slayer of enemies, destroyer of enemies. The one who destroys enemies is Arisudana. So he says, how am I to fight Bhishma and Drona in this battle, O Madhusudana? With arrows. Those standing in front of me are worthy of my worship. And you are asking me to, I'd rather give them pushpam. I'd rather garland them. I'd rather touch their feet. I'd rather take blessings from them when they stand in front of me. If they stand in front of me, what should my vyavahar be to them? Those who are worthy of my devotion. I'd rather show my affection, devotion for them. But I have to stand with arrows in my hand. That is still showing his state of mind. So next verse, he continues. Yeah, Akanksha. The meter changes here.
Hanji, I'll try. Guru nahatva hi mahanubhava Shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke Atvath kamanstu guru nihaiva Bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan.
Excellent. Very good. Perfect. So he says, Gurun Atva Hi Mahanu Bhavan. गुरुओं को, in front of him are all his teachers, including Kripacharya also. So, Guruna Hatva, Marke, killing them, killing my own gurus indeed. Indeed, who are not ordinary people. Mahanubhavan, they are Mahan, they have accomplished great feats. They are the ones who are exalted beings in the society. They are very accomplished. These are great accomplished people. Shreyaha bhoktum bhaikshama piha loke. He says, Shreyaha bhoktum. For me, what will be better is Shreyaha, better is bhoktum, to have my Sharir Yatra, whatever I require, to have my enjoyment or whatever I require for my Sharir Yatra, bhoktum in that sense, bhaikshyam, through bhiksha, api iha loke, in this world, I would rather live on bhiksha, sustaining myself. That will be better for me. Than what? Than killing my people. So he's kind of repeating it, but at the same time, he's now coming to the point of confirming that he is not being able to come to a resolution. So he says, I would rather choose. If you ask me, Krishna, कि मुझे क्या करना है, then I will choose to live on bhiksha. I'm not ready to fight. Bhiksha is a very specific action. Shastra allows bhiksha to brahmacharis, means your student life. You can receive from people around you. As a grahastha, you cannot be on bhiksha. The other sannyasi, when you take to sannyasa ashram, you are qualified to receive bhiksha. And the third one who's qualified is a Brahmin. A Brahmin, because he does service to society, a Brahmin in fact has got his first means of livelihood should never be direct earning. His first means of livelihood should only be bhiksha dakshina. For that, but never work for it, because he works for spreading the knowledge. He spends his life pursuing Gyan and then distributing it, dispersing it, and first means that is sanctioned in the Shastra is Dakshina is sanctioned. Second is, if this is not possible, then that's how all in their kingdoms, like Drona was one of them, they can go and work as advisories and get their thing. But Bhiksha is only qualified for these people. For Arjuna, who's a Kshatriya, Bhiksha is actually Nishedha. He's not to live on Bhiksha. It'll be adharma for him. He's not supposed to be, it's paradharma. I don't want to introduce the word too early, but it is paradharma for him. It's not his dharma. His dharma is Kshatriya. For him, as a soldier, he's not supposed to be living on Bhiksha. Who are the ones who are allowed to live on Bhiksha? Brahmachari, Sannyasi, Brahmin. They're allowed Bhiksha. So if instead of Arjuna there was a Brahmin who was saying this, maybe Krishna would have said, okay. But to Arjuna, he can't say that. So he says, it will be better that the rest of my life that is left on this world, I will live on Bhiksha. Hatvartha kamamstu gurun ihaiva kunjiya bhogan rudira pratiktan. Hatvartha, marke, after having killed them. Artha kamamstu, all the enjoyments that are going to be there after slaying them, whatever I will get. Slaying hatva, gurun ihaiva, slaying them. Whatever enjoyments of artha and kama, bhunjiya bhogan, that I will be now enjoying. Rudira pradiktan, that's the highlight. It's going to be tainted with blood. In every pleasure of mine or in every experience of my life hereafterwards, wherever I am, whatever life is left, and when I get a kingdom and I am enjoying my princely life, etc., everything is going to be torturous because it is going to be stained with their blood. Rudira is blood. Pradikdhan is actually chikna hona. So it is going to be chipak jayega. So he's saying, even if they win the war, hereafterwards, no experience of his is going to be without the feeling that it has come by killing his teacher and his grand and Bhishma. So it is, खून से, क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में, if you say it in a dramatic way, it is खून से रंगा हुआ.
खून से लथपथ और रंगा हुआ.
हाँ, बस, you got it. So Arjuna is saying, it is going to be, all his pleasures and enjoyments are going to be like that. So having killed, it will be shreyas for me, better that I take to Bhiksha than killing them and rest of my life being traumatized by the thought that this is stained in blood. All pleasures, anything that I will have their blood written on it. So I don't want it. Then he says, now he's expressing his confusion in the next verse, 6th verse. You want to chant Akanksha? 1 second beforehand. The question is, could you kindly speak of the link between inner strength and a righteous life? I'll take it up as a separate thing because it will shift away the whole topic. Maybe I'll answer as an email, or maybe next class I'll take it up beforehand, or maybe because the topic will deviate. It's a general question. Link between inner strength and a righteous life is a general topic. So we will shift away our focus from here. So I'll take that up separately. maybe next Saturday I'll start with that question, so that, and then we'll take that up. Yeah, continue.
न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः
Gariyah, because we're
Gariyah.
breaking it. Can you do it once more, just for practice?
न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः.
Very good. This visarga after ka, what is it called?
I don't know the technical term.
You chanted it as how?
I chanted it as a half visarga.
Correct. It was the right thing. So I just wanted to be brought to notice to others. It was a half, she chanted. Na chaitat vidmah kataran. It's almost like a half aspirate. So it's a jiva mulya sound. Ka and ka. So jiva mulya. Na chaitat vidmah kataran no gariyaha. So the e ki matra is long. Gariyaha. Yadva jayema. यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः. The sh is done. तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः. The a is long, so it has to be long. Correct. Very good. So now he says, na cha etat vidmaha. Vidmaha means do not know. Nahi jante. Vidmaha means janna. Na vidmaha. Nahi jante. What? Etat. This. Cha and. And also we do not know. Also we do not know. What? Kataran. Kataran naha gariyaha. Gariyaha means superior, better. Kataran, between two, which is naha, better for us. Na cha etat vidmaha katarat naha gariyaha. Also, we do not know between the two which is better for us. Between which two? Yat va jayema. Yat, which should we be conquering them? Jayema, we should win, we should conquer. Yadi va no jayeyuhu, or we should get conquered. They should conquer us. Which is better for us? Na vidmaha. Do not know. What do we not know? Jayema, जीतना चाहिए, जीतेंगे हम जीतना, जयेमा, जीतना, हमें जीतना, ये बेटर है हमारे लिए, या वो हमें जीत ले, वो बेटर है हमारे लिए. Do not know. What is it? यानेव हत्वा नजिजी विषामः तेवस्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः. Says यानेव हत्वा. These people who are in front, Yaneva, these very people, who are they? Dhartarashtraha Pramukhe, the main people who are standing in front, from the Dhritarashtra's camp, hatva, killing them, na jijivishamaha. I do not want to live. We do not care to live. Killing these who are pramukhe dhartarashtraha, who are in the Dhritarashtra's main people in his thing. We have no desire to live without even these who follow Dhritarashtra's. So not only we do not know, this is where it expresses his confusion. His confusion is not with the outcome of the war. His confusion is with reference to what will be the right thing to do. Should I lose the war willingly? When he's almost come to the point of saying, war to hoegi. But he still knows he has the capacity to turn. If he doesn't fight back, they will lose. So, should we be winning? Should I work to win or should I work to lose? When a parent plays with a child, बहुत बार वो जानबूझ के हारते हैं ना, for the joy of the child. They let the child believe that child जीत गया. So Arjuna knows he's so confident of his capabilities. So he's saying, I do not know which is better for me. Should I fight to win the war or should I fight in a way that they conquer us? That is what the avasthitaha standing in front of me, pramukhe dhartarashtraha. Is this verse clear? So then he now concludes. So there's one more. Two more verses. I'll try and cover them. Chant.
जी. कार्पण्य दोषः, or should I say कार्पण्य दोषो?
Full.
Dosho.
It's a full sentence. No? If you will only break it when you're breaking the by the syllables, when you're breaking it in the meter. But if you're not breaking it, you should pronounce it.
कार्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Right. What did you do with yat shreyaha, sir? What did you do?
Because there is, it's followed by sir, therefore yachreyas, it will become, we will not pronounce the visarga, we will pronounce it as a sir.
Correct. Very good. So just for the others to know, correct. And this anuswara, tvam,
it should be na because wo dha hai, tatha dadha na.
correct.
So should I chant this again?
Yeah.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. Actually, where I learned, Dipiji, we just did the visargas and unfortunately we didn't do the anuswaras. So which is why
No, that's an optional thing, so it's okay. No worries. You can stick to whatever, it's okay. But I am going to stick to this.
Hanji, absolutely. And that's and Vedic chanting, I think it's a good idea to learn that. So which is why I wanted to practice here.
Yeah, because and though this is Vedic chanting is inflexible. This is Gita, so that's why that option is given. It's not. It is a little flexible in Gita. Vedic chanting is inflexible. You cannot afford to make a mistake in that. So this is quite okay. Okay. So
यच्छ्रेयस्यान् निश्चितम ही होगा क्योंकि प ब प फ ब ब म ही होता है वहां पे वो म ही होगा
correct.
ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्ते हम शाधि माम so here again with sh दीप्ति जी what do we use शाधि माम से पहले शिष्यस्ते हम जो है वो फिर क्या होगा
Mai hoga. You have to go back to the rules.
हाँ जी I'll go back to
Keep
the
the
rules.
rules with you, and if you have a doubt, then you send me a message or a mail.
I
We'll
will
take
do
it
that.
up. If it is going to be a generalized thing, otherwise we are taking everyone.
Definitely.
And Shishyasteham Shadhi Mam. Sorry. Then Tvam Prapannam. Therefore, this is not sounding with Na because you've broken it here. Okay. And anybody, just now that you've asked, let's complete this. This Anuswara followed by Sha will be how?
It will be ma only.
It will be Ma only. Because it is not a part of the class consonants. Sha is not a consonant.
Okay.
So only the 5 consonants have the Anuswara rules. Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha are sibilants.
And then it should be man because ta tha da dha na.
No, I just said you are breaking it there.
Oh, okay.
So you don't.
Okay. Right. Sorry, I need to go back to the rules. I will.
Because it will shift the chanting is like a different thing. I'm just trying to integrate so that I think we'll end this here. We'll take this verse. So, yeah, we'll take the question next time. Is there any other question? Always our questioning should be in such a way that we should not, our question should add value to others when we're asking in a group. Otherwise, send me a message or a mail. And if it is worth of a group, then I'll bring it. Otherwise, we tend to confuse. No? Because these are very barik. So,
Deepti ji, in verse 6 for chanting the first line, when it's Nachaitadvidma, can that be Kha there?
no.
Because the next is Ka.
I just said it.
Because it is break here also.
Yeah, but it's a special sound. I just said this to Akanksha. The half visarga is before ka and kha is going to be jiva mulya sound. It's a special sound. It's jiva mulya, no? So it gets half pronunciation. The pa and the pa is upadmaniya sound. So that visarga can be done as up and pa. So visarga after pa is sounding like a fa. Alternatively can be pa.
So how do we pronounce this one? Vidma.
Can you it's pronounced as half, no? She just did it. Na chaitat vidmah kataranno gariyaha. So you're just sounding. Missed it when I was talking to.
No, I didn't understand the
Can
pronunciation.
you do it? Can you do it?
Nachaitadvidmah kataranno gariyah.
Correct. So that just half aspirate is half. So it will not be ka. Visarga after ka and ka is half.
Yeah, but I meant we'll do half kha, right? Not her.
Oh, you are doing with maha. It's following the ma. So there's no ka here.
Right.
Visarga
Yeah.
is following the vavu.
Yeah.
So with maha, instead of saying with maha, kataranno, you can also, if you break it there, then you will say na chaitat with maha kataranno gariyaha. If you're not breaking it, then the ma followed by visarga will take the vowel sound. Vowel of ma is a, so na chaitat with ma kataranno. Is that clear? Everyone? Okay. I think chanting needs a separate, brain starts to reel. The attention shifts completely. So is that okay? So far, all the questions. Is anybody confused with this since it's been brought up? We should clarify it now. Everyone okay? So let's end the class here. Someone wants to, who started? Divya. Can you end the class, Divya? Maybe she's not here. Someone else can end.
I can do it.
Diptiji, may I?
Yeah.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Thank you, Diptiji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you,
Hari Om.
everyone.
Thank you.
हरि ओम दीप्ति